Friends, can you hear the music? Can you hear the jingle bells? Because it's every Amazon seller's e-commerce brand favorite time of year. It is, of course, Q4. It is Q4. We've got Cyber Monday. We've got Black Friday. And of course, we've got the peak of Q4, which actually runs from Cyber Monday all the way to the Christmas shipping cutoff time. It's a wonderful time of year. I hope you've had a fantastic 2024. Let's make the most of it going into quarter four. This is a topic near and dear to my heart. We study this every single year. You can actually go in the link in the description, and I'll even put it up on screen and actually see all of our content related to Black Friday, Cyber Monday that we've been publishing for years in a nice, neat, organized spreadsheet for you. So you can go here and see the content dating back for years. And really, if you go through all this content, you, my friends, will surely be a Q4 bids and budget master. The link is in the description. And let the games begin here. So essentially what the topic of this talk is a simplified Q4 bids and budget system. Basically, I want to talk about what moves to make with bids and budgets to maximize Q4 on Amazon. And really, this is a simplified version of this. So I rounded a lot of the bidding and the budget movements that you should make. I simplified the trends that you will see in the week leading up to Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and up to the Christmas cutoff time. I gave you some simple multiples of how to change the bidding, as well as the mentality to take in it. I cover 3 different ideas of how to approach Q4 for an Amazon brand. And I also talk about some extra goodies outside the world of PPC that a lot of our top brands follow. Q4 Amazon strategy is an immensely popular topic for good reason. Here is a chart on the screen of Amazon revenue by quarter. This goes all the way back until 2007. And what you see here is that as early as 2007, Amazon has peaked in Q4 every year. Honestly, it doesn't show any sign of stopping. Well, it doesn't show signs of stopping. So basically what we're looking at here is quarter four, peak, quarter four, peak, quarter four, peak, going back in time. And it's not just a little jump. It's actually a quite significant jump. We're talking about sales in certain companies that I work with doubling or more. Quarter four sneaks up on you really fast, which is why we're publishing this early. So really what the goal of this is to really slow it down, understand what to do, when to do it, and why to do it. So you can be like my boy Neo here in the Matrix. Really understand the math. And when I say math, the multiples, why to increase budgets and why to increase bids. It's important to really just pause and sort of think about this. We here at Ad Badger analyze data from over 1,000 marketplaces. And really, the big things that we try to analyze are what happens the week before Black Friday, what happens the day of Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, as well as the entire month of December before the Christmas cutoff. So let's talk about a simplified bids and budget system here to basically amplify what works and capture the demand, because it's such a huge time. For so many brands, Q4 is like 2 quarters in one. A special note, I just wanted to highlight some of the other topics here that we've talked about to help boost these Prime days, both Prime Day as well as Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We're talking about things like Prime exclusive discounts, lightning deals, limited time offers, being smart with your bundles. People might be less price sensitive, more eager to spend more during this prime time. Brand tailored promotions with retargeting. That's amazing. Being able to offer the right audience, the right kind of discount to incentivize the purchase. Think about price optimization. Think about building a list. A very unfair advantage that a lot of e-commerce brands have on Amazon is, of course, having a list, meaning they can email people outside of Amazon. All of these topics we've discussed here on the show, both in the context of a Prime Day or Black Friday event, as well as in general. So be sure to go back to that spreadsheet that's in the description that you can scan through that. It's actually my favorite way to search through our library of content here, over 300 plus episodes. So the very, very first thing that I recommend here, and I'm looking at you, and you. Basically what the first thing to do is determine your actual goals. And it's really a business decision. So before anyone tells you like always do this every quarter four because it's the way to do it, or every prime day because it's the way to do it, I always put the pump the brakes on and I say it's really a business decision. How much you're spending, what return you're looking for, and how you want to move your inventory. Those are all business decisions to make, meaning there might be brands that are trying to optimize for more profitability, and there might be brands optimizing for market share and volume, and you might get people down the middle of the road. So option one, let's talk about it. Option one is all gas, no brakes. And what do I mean by that? What I mean when I say all gas, no brakes is that we are going aggressive on almost every front. We're trying to maximize the sales, maximize our clicks, maximize our sales volume, basically going in with the mentality every single thing is going to have a higher conversion rate. So I'm going to boost absolutely everything. This is dependent on the type of company that it is and the types of products that it is. But really, if I use the plus indicator here, we're going to do 5 out of 5 increase on our sales. So we're trying to increase our sales as much as possible, and a slight improvement in our ACOS. So what I mean by a slight improvement in our ACOS, meaning when you're stepping on the gas so hard, you're trying to vie for the very top spots that get the most visibility. So top of search, top positions, you're going to be spending the most to get there. You're going to have a ACOS depression in performance, as opposed to if you were maybe a little bit more strategized in the other components here, where you maybe said, maybe I don't want the top spot. That's going to be the most expensive thing. Maybe I'll land in there at 2 or at the second or third most impressions during this time to sort of, balance the visibility as well as the performance. So this is option one. It is absolutely valid. All gas, no brakes. Put the pedal to the metal. We'll talk about how to sort of weave our way through there. The second option is to let everybody else increase these bids. I'm going to focus on profit. So on these pinnacle days where we get a pinnacle level of sales, nearly everyone sees a lift. There is simply more search volume, a dramatic rise in search volume. There's a dramatic rise in conversion rate. Because this is happening just across the board everywhere, the higher conversion rates and just keeping the bids the same, you're going to enjoy a nice weekend of significant profit, because basically your sales will increase. More than likely, your sales will increase just because there's so much more demand. So that keyword that maybe gets, 2 sales a day is going to land in at 4, 5, 6, 7 sales a day. And because they're going to be converting with such a more intense fervor, like conversion rate is higher. And we'll look at that in a second. Because the conversion rate is so much higher, you will reap the benefits of keeping your bids mostly the same and getting much better ACOS. Option 3, give me profit, give me volume. So this is sort of the middle of the road approach, where we're basically saying, let's get strategic about how we do this. Let's try to maximize our sales where we are already very strong. And then we're going to leave the rest as is, or even reduce bids and budgets there. So this is sort of the best of both worlds. I gave this +3 sales, +3 better ACOS. The other option 2, where we focus on profit, I gave +2 sales, +5 better ACOS. So no matter what you choose, you just can't be a sloth. You can't be sitting there waking up late on Black Friday being like, should I do anything today? You can't be there. Black Friday has evolved, and I'll talk about that. Cyber Monday has evolved. The sales are getting longer. The time frame is getting longer. And it's really, you need to go in with a mentality. You need to really be a speeding badger. Otherwise, you'll be chock full of missed opportunities in your stocking this year. So let's not be confused about bids and budgets and what to do when we go into this. Let's talk about a simple Q4 bids and budget system, because once you get this right, you know what you're doing, when you're doing it, you can be pre-planned and anticipate what the performance will be ahead of time. And you can hit your bullseye. So no matter what kind of company goal you're trying to engineer with your advertising campaigns, understanding what to do and when is your unfair advantage at this point in time. So let's talk about how to capture the increased demand, stay competitive, and anticipate the right bid and budget. Let's just talk about basics of bids and budget management. The easiest way to maximize sales at your ACOS range is with the right bid, with the right budgets, so that you can capture the demand when customers have the appropriate conversion rate. Q4 is gigantic. It's typically going to be a gigantic time of sales. So you can see this particular brand, when Q4 came around right here, their sales jumped through the roof and their ACOS hit very, very historic lows. So this is a typical brand. They've advertised for a couple of years. You can see their ACOS was sort of all over the place. They get a little bit more mature, they get a little bit stable, and then they're incredibly poised to strike in Q4, where their ACOS, this blue line, is incredibly low, and this orange line sales are incredibly high, historic highs in sales. So I hope this happens for you. And you can see, even if a brand has been around for a while, this brand took years to get their legs under them. So you don't always have the luxury of going back in time and sort of seeing what you did last year. I also want to point out that good PPC management for Black Friday, Cyber Monday begins years ago, right? Like the best time to plant a tree was 100 years ago. The second best time is today, right? So good PPC practices will help you have a successful Q4. So knowing where you convert well, knowing where your brand shines, all of those things matter a lot going into Q4. So I just want to talk about basics. The way that most people do bidding is nudging it up, nudging it down. So standard bid management asks ourselves what the keyword is worth, how much revenue per click does it generate on average. High revenue per click, we give it a bigger bid. Low revenue per click, we give it a lower bid. So if I see something like this, I see me struggling with an ACOS, 31% over here, and then I've got another keyword, kitchen jars, and jars for baking at 14 and 19% ACOS, respectively. So I see this one with a 31% ACOS, and I'm going to sort of reduce the bid there. I see something with the very best ACOS, so I'm going to increase the bid. It's really just putting your best foot forward, right? This is just general concepts. You have something that converts well out of the box, you give it a little nudge, increase. You have something with a good ACOS, you give it a nudge, increase, that kind of thing. So that's a general rule of thumb. Now, with advanced bid management, we're doing a lot of work where we're going back in time and we're looking at revenue per click. We're factoring search volume. How many clicks per day does this thing get? We're looking at conversion rates, average order values. We're looking at trend analysis. Is this trending up? Is this trending down? How can I predict the next best revenue per click? We are looking at positional awareness. Are we getting most of our sales at top of search, rest of search, or product pages for sponsored products? We're looking at the ad type, the campaign type, the funnel position. Are these branded terms, generic terms, competitor terms, evergreen terms? What am I trying to accomplish? Ranking terms. That should factor into how you manage your bids and set your targets. So during Q4, everything is better. However, there is no retrospective data typically. Meaning you can't go in there and look at your last 30 days and decide what to do there. You need to be proactive. So you need to sort of think about future time. You need to think about what is going to happen, which is the purpose of this video. So here's my proactive summary, and I've rounded these for simplicities. Now this is based off averages. So this includes some brands that are not so seasonal, but basically sales go up 50% December versus September. Orders go up 75% December versus September. Conversion rate goes up 50% during peak Q4. So basically the takeaway is you don't want to be missing any one of these days, because it's very likely if you miss one day, it's akin to missing 1, 2, or 3 of your normal days, depending on your particular niche. I just wanted to break down how sales volume and conversion rate, which are the two biggest distinctions here. So really, what is Prime Day doing? What is Black Friday, Cyber Monday? What is December doing? All this holiday shopping. What is it actually doing? It's influencing two things. It's influencing sales volume and conversion rate. Sales volume is easy. There's more people searching. There's more people buying. There's the total amount of orders increased. And you see this in the first image that I shared early on in this presentation, which was the Amazon peak in Q4. That's sales volume, right? At the same time, not only are there more people buying, but if you take the same 100 searches from September and then you search them again during peak Q4, you would expect, if 10 people purchase out of 100 searches, you would expect maybe 15, 20 people buying from the same 100 searches. So not only is there more search volume, more orders being made, but also the conversion rate itself is higher. So the sales are faster, meaning one day is going to have more searches and more orders per search. So how does this actually change anything here? With a change in sales volume, a change in search volume, a change in order count per day, you don't really need to change your bidding, because your bidding is typically based off a ratio. How much revenue per click am I getting? And just total count of revenue is not factored into that ratio. So you do, however, want to think about increasing your budget. For example, if there's 50% more searches, you will likely want to increase your budget by 50%, with the mindset that if you increase your budget, that extra traffic that you get should convert exactly the same. This is under normal times, and this is extra true for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and peak Q4. Now, conversion rate, which also goes up at the same time, changes bidding significantly. It influences our revenue per click. And another way to calculate revenue per click is average order value. So that's like your revenue per one order multiplied by your conversion rate, which is the ratio of how many orders you get per clicks. So average order value and conversion rate. So you can actually break out conversion rate by orders over clicks. How many orders per click do I get? That type of thing. I get 10% orders per click, so on and so forth. So average order value multiplied by CVR. Your CVR is a major component in your revenue per click, and your revenue per click is a major component in what your cost per click should be. All making sense here. So essentially 50% higher conversion rate should change your bids by 50% as a general sort of thought process here. So during Q4, both sales volume and conversion rate increase. Of course, not all products are the same, not all brands are the same, and even within your account, not all the keywords are going to behave the same. Some might be higher than 50%, some might actually be lower than 50%. Now, the best place to look is historic data. And if you're on Amazon and you're scrolling through and you're trying to sort of study and analyze this information, you might notice that it's quite difficult to get your historic data. Meaning Amazon, as you can see here, if I go lifetime, I can see the lifetime data. But if I scroll back in time and I want to look at, November 2023, I'm stuck. They only let me go back a couple months. So as a quick aside, I hope you're using a tool that makes this easy for you so that you can go back in time. I can select November 19th to November 25th and see exactly what my bids were during that time. And I know exactly what my orders and my conversion rate and my revenue per click, every data point that I want is all just listed there for me. So hopefully you're using a tool like that. I have no bias in that question. I'm kidding. Of course I do. So let's jump in here. Part 2, expected value during Q4. So jumping into Q4, October is mostly typical. Most of November is also typical. The real fun begins the week before Thanksgiving. So I wanted to show you something here. This is from previous Q4s, and I'm zooming in to November here. And what you see in November is this is clicks. They're just humming along. And then I have a increase and a sharp decrease, and then jumps back to even higher numbers. Clicks. Can you sort of see the dates here from the past? Thanksgiving Day, week before Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So you can sort of see that trend just in terms of total amount of clicks. And if you just use these lines as sort of the second line is twice as big as the first line, the amount of clicks is more than double. So that's a greater than 100% increase. And you can see on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, it's almost a 3x increase in clicks. It's massive. It looks incredibly similar to the amount of orders per day. Again, there's a sort of pre-Thanksgiving or pre-Thanksgiving week dip. There's a Thanksgiving ramp up. There's a sharp decline on Thanksgiving, and then an incredibly sharp increase in orders Black Friday, Cyber Monday. You can also see this by conversion rate. You can see this conversion rate humming along. We have the real numbers on this. So the bottom line is 9%, 10%, 11%, 12%. Now, I don't want to, again, a lot of people look at 9% to, well, let's just make this, 10%. 10% is the average conversion rate for Amazon PPC. 10% conversion rate jumping up to 12% is not a 2% change. That is a 20% increase in conversion rate. That's a 20% increase. 20%. 12 is 20% greater than 10. It's a pet peeve of mine when people call that 2 percentage points. What is 2 percentage points greater than, what is 2% greater than 10? Don't do math, but I think it's like, isn't it 10.2%? Right? That's insignificant. This is rather significant, going from 12%, from 10%. Back to the slides, please. So what we're looking at here is an average conversion rate of about 10%, and it jumps up to 11, jumps up to 12%. And you can see the very big dip in Thanksgiving. So again, the phases that to think about in November, it's typical leading up to Thanksgiving week. There's a dip on Thanksgiving, and then there's a massive conversion rate spike afterwards. And that wave is ridden all the way until the Christmas shipping cutoff. So what I'm looking at here is a conversion rate spike that goes from Black Friday all the way to the Christmas shipping cutoff. And that is massive. So in aggregate, this is aggregated of over 1,000 marketplaces. In aggregate, we're seeing 20% greater conversion rate for a sustained period of time. It's massive. And a sustained increase in clicks. It's massive. So if you wanted to sort of be precise and just break this up into 3 separate areas, you have normal bids going in. If you wanted to, there is a decrease in performance on Thanksgiving, but I would say that is nominal. That's for the people that want to go above and beyond. You can do some tweaking on the day of Thanksgiving, but really if you sort of combine the normal and the first 2 boxes here in just one time frame, sort of normal, and then increased bids over here. So again, normal bids and budgets leading into it. So $1 CPC, $10 budget. You hit Thanksgiving where maybe you want to decrease your bids by 10%. A minor win in the grand scheme of the thing, but really the thing that you're trying to optimize for is the post Thanksgiving timeframe where you have just massive bids with a massive conversion rate spike. What's so interesting here is that Black Friday, Cyber Monday has gotten longer and longer and longer. Like these sales, the Q4 sales extravaganza has just been continuing to grow. So what you actually see here is it used to be like the week before Cyber Monday, like leading up, like the week of Thanksgiving was a depressed sales timeframe. People weren't shopping. And now you see that people are shopping during that time frame. It's actually the doldrums is actually pushed a week earlier. It's like the week before the Thanksgiving week. So Q4 sales are just sort of increasing. Maybe they'll start in October next year. But in all seriousness, it's worth paying attention to. This has sort of continued to grow over the years. So hopefully you have a bid optimizer of choice that you can go in and you can do a quick decrease if you wanted to on Thanksgiving, and of course do a big increase thereafter. So what I would generally say is that you don't need to just go to all of your budgets down the line and add a 0 to them, and you don't need to go to all your keywords down the line and just do a big bulk increase. I would generally say, at the very least, again, this is simplified Q4 bids and budget system. At the very least, draw a line in the sand. All of your keywords that have 2 orders or more in 30 days and everything else. All of your campaigns that have significant data. So, if a campaign has enough data to have multiple keywords in there that have 2 orders or more per day, sort of give yourself an 80-20 analysis and just sort of draw a line in the sand. Okay, view all keywords, every keyword with 2 orders or more in the last 30 days. I'm going to sort of consider you one way, and everything else I'm going to consider you another way. So it's okay to not increase your bids on every single keyword during this time frame. Focus on what makes you the most money, focus on what you have an advantage on, and I think you'll be sitting really pretty. I would say it's probably a bad idea to increase bids on things that you have no historic sales for. Dedicate it, funnel it towards the things that you do have sales for. So I like to zoom out here because what's really crazy is that if you look at the amount of orders per day, you will see that peak quarter 4 is actually after Cyber Monday. So again, there's a Thanksgiving dip. Black Friday, Cyber Monday are huge. There's typically a sort of depression after Cyber Monday, but it's still much better than a normal day. And then peak quarter 4 is really the tsunami wave of sales. Like the month of December before the Christmas time cutoff, the amount of orders per day by Ad Badger customer on average is 108% higher. It's massive. So speaking generally, this is the simplified Q4 bids and budget system. Focus on your top sales driver, give them the most focus. I would say for those top campaigns, give them 3x their budget. You never want to be budget capped. Anticipate conversion rates that are double what they normally are on those top peak sales drivers. So again, assume your revenue per click is 2 times higher. That's a simple doubling of your bids for those very top campaigns. And if you look at things that have historically struggled, I generally like to think of those as my profit optimizers, meaning I might just leave the bids where they are, let it get an increased conversion rate. I'm probably not going to have a double conversion rate in those keywords, but I'm going to reap some rewards of the profit. In those examples earlier, I'm generally the guy who's optimizing in the middle of the road. I like to go aggressive on my very top things, and I like to sort of be a little bit more conservative with everything else. So some special cases here. Non-quarter 4 companies, again, standard bid optimization. Are you over or under? You should know by the end of Cyber Weekend if you are an over or under performer, so just adjust accordingly. So in short, this is what you're looking at when you zoom out for all of quarter 4. Hit those peak times. Don't be budget capped. At the very least, draw a line in the sand of your good keywords, best keywords. You can also draw another line in the sand to separate your good and best, maybe 5 orders a month in a typical 30-day period per keyword. And those top ones, they get a 3x bid and budget increase. The good ones get a 2x and 3x. And then the mediocre ones, the ones all below that, I might just leave as is. Or if I need to, I would allocate some more budget up top. So in general, that's a great way to think about this. Hopefully, if we've sort of simplified the approach for you. And lastly, the final thing to know about quarter 4 is this. And my friends, the final thing to know about quarter 4 is you're traveling to family across the country, as you're spending time with your loved ones. Find a moment to head on over to adbadger.com, where we have the only sale that we ever have, the only time where you can get a discounted Ad Badger plan. You can get 25% off our annual plans. My friends, that's an entire quarter for free. That's wild. You can get 15% off semi-annual plans. That's a 6-month plan. And this is available to current customers and new customers, as well as former customers. My friends, we make adjustments and improvements, and we're coming out with new tools for Ad Badger constantly. So if you've used us in the past, maybe you used us all way back in 2017, we've grown significantly year over year. So would love to invite you back. If you're a new customer and you've been listening to the show for a while, I think you will fit right inside the Badger Den. And even current customers, you can re-up your plans at the discounted rate. So be sure to head on over to adbadger.com. We have a form for you and we can get you started. Have a good one. Have a wonderful, wonderful quarter 4, both in terms of time spent with the people you want to spend it with, as well as your business performance or your client's business performance. Have a wonderful one. My name is Michael Erickson Facchin, and this is the PPC Den podcast, the home of the first and longest running show, all about making your Amazon PPC life a little bit easier and a little bit more profitable. Have a good one, everybody.